All right, welcome into the show. Creative Crypto here. In this video, I want to talk about trading leverage on Hyperliquid and mainly using the Apex Liquid bot. This bot right here that I talked about in a previous video gave kind of an overview of it. I want to go more in depth in this video and focus on finding wallets that you can copy trade, how to find them, how to set it up to copy trade. I also want to test out their mini app, which is a new feature here from the Apex Liquid bot, where you can basically open it up and then trade kind of like you can straight on Hyperliquid. So it gives you the ability to trade easier with this bot for those people that like to trade manually, like myself. I like to trade manually with the bot. I'm diving more into the copy trading side of it, and it's just a cool little bot to use because, sometimes people might not be able to trade on Hyperliquid depending on where you live, and you have to go and get a VPN and do everything like that. But you can avoid that by just using the Hyperliquid bot, because it doesn't matter where you are in the world. You can trade using the Apex Liquid bot and be able to trade on Hyperliquid. So it's kind of a workaround for those people that don't want to, get a VPN and all that. I do recommend getting a VPN though, just for security in crypto, but you don't need it for this because you can just use directly through the Telegram bot. So real quick before I dive into the bot and show you all the new features and try to find some wallets to copy trade and stuff that I like to look for with the bot, I want to give a quick overview for people that might be new to leverage trading, what leverage trading is, how it works, and how you can profit from it. Okay, so what is leverage trading? Well, leverage trading gives you the ability to trade an asset, mainly a crypto asset, which is what we're doing here with Hyperliquid and the Apex bot. And you can trade with that asset more capital than you actually have. Okay, that's called leverage. So here's a chart of the price. Now there's two different types of leverage. There's isolated leverage and cross leverage. Now what leverage means is, let's say you want to put $100 into a leverage position. Okay, first off, you need to decide how much leverage you want to use. Okay, now this can be determined based on your budget size and how confident you are in the trade. So let's say you just want to use a 10x leverage, okay, 10x leverage. So that means if the price goes up 1%, okay, the price goes up 1%, you're actually going to make 10 times that. So you're going to make 10% on that trade because you're using leverage. Now it does go the same in reverse, okay, so if the price were to go down 10%, now you're negative 10% on the trade. Okay, so what it's actually doing is when you select your leverage, it's technically giving you a loan for the amount. So if I'm doing a 10x leverage with $100, it's basically like I'm trading with $1,000. Okay, even though I only put up $100 for this trade. Now that all gets worked out in the back end. You don't have to worry about loans and stuff like that. That all gets worked through the exchange automatically. Okay, but that's how it works. So now I'm trading with $1,000. So if a price goes up 1%, that is basically like 10% because I'm only really trading with $100. Okay, so that's the basics of leverage. So how you get liquidated is when the price goes below your liquidation price. So for example, if you're doing a 10x leverage long means you think the price is going to go up. Short means you think the price is going to go down. Okay, that's what you need to decide right off the bat. So if we think the price is going to go up, and let's say we do a 10x leverage, and the price actually goes down 10%. Okay, if the price goes down 10%, and we are in a 10x leverage, now we just lost 100%. Okay, because it's 10 times whatever the price movement is. So now we just got liquidated. Okay, our position is now 0. Now, if you're doing an isolated leverage, that means you isolate that position only to that leverage. Okay, so let's say we have, our bankroll is $100 to trade, right? Our bankroll is $100. And let's say we wanted to put a $30 position in an isolated leverage position. Okay, so from our $100, we put $30 in there. When it's isolated, that means we can only lose this amount if things go wrong. We can't lose the entire balance. Okay, however, if things go right, we can only make what we made off this $30. Okay, depending on the leverage, of course. Now, cross leverage is different because it uses your entire balance. Your entire $100 is going to be used against your leverage position. Okay, so that means the price goes up, price goes down, you're going to be based off your entire position here. It's going to be based off your entire balance. Okay, that's called margin. So how much margin do you have? Well, it depends on how you enter the trade. So if you enter a 10x cross leverage, which mostly is how the Apex Liquid bot works. Now, if you want to use the mini app, you can change to isolated, okay? But for the cross leverage, if we enter a position, it's the liquidation price and how much we make is going to depend on how much margin we use, okay? Margin. So margin is basically just your balance, okay? That is your balance. So if we only want to do a $30 position in a cross leverage, we would put in a $30 position, okay, based on our leverage. So if we want to just do $30 at a 10x, we would just do $300 position. Okay, so now our liquidation is going to be a lot different than it would be with isolated because we're doing cross. So we're only using, 30% of our balance for this trade. So we're only using 30%. So the liquidation price is going to be a lot lower than it would be over here. Okay, and that's basically because it's using cross leverage. So if our position goes against us, if it starts going against us, it's going to draw more from our margin. So now this $30 position is going to turn into, a $50, $100 position potentially if it gets close to the liquidation price. Okay, now when it goes up and it goes in your favor, it might vary a little bit here and there, but basically it's pretty much the same. Okay, but when things go wrong, you can potentially lose more because you can draw from your entire balance. That's the difference between cross and isolated. Okay, so hope you guys understand that. That is the basics behind leverage trading. Whatever percent the price moves, whatever leverage you have, that is determined by your leverage. So again, if you do 100x leverage, okay, 100x leverage, and the price moves 1%, well, now you just made 100% on your position. So if you had a $100 trade, you just made $200 and the price only moved 1%. Okay, now if the price goes lower than 1%, then you lose everything. Okay, so now you get liquidated. So this is the basics of leverage trading, how it actually works, and the difference between isolated and cross. So now that you guys understand that, we can dive more into leverage trading in this video so you'll understand exactly how this stuff works. Okay, now to use this Apex Liquid bot, you don't have to create an account on Hyperliquid. It'll create one for you when you start this bot. So click on the link in the description of this video. Don't trust just searching the Telegram for this bot. Make sure you only use a secure link in my description because there are fakes and stuff. You don't want to get scammed. So once you start the bot, it's going to create you an account on Hyperliquid for you. And you can go to your wallet section here. You can export your private key to your own MetaMask. Okay, this will be your bot wallet. Now, you can actually log into that bot wallet on Hyperliquid itself if you actually want to see stuff and see some details in your account. That is able to do because it is a decentralized account. So as long as you have the private key and it's in your wallet, you'll be able to do that. Okay, so let me show you exactly how to get started as far as funding goes, because you're going to be using different blockchain than Solana. I know a lot of people use Solana, and I talked about this in my first video, but I just want to go over it again here. The best way to do this is to get the MetaMask wallet extension. Okay, this is for using all EVM chains. EVM means Ethereum Virtual Machine. Arbitrum is an EVM chain. Same with Binance Smart Chain. Same with Hyperliquid itself. Hyperliquid has its own chain. But for this, we're using Arbitrum, okay, because it's the easiest way to do this. So first, get in your MetaMask. Create a new wallet if you already have a wallet, okay? You can easily create a new wallet. You just click up here and then click right here where it says Create Account. Now, if you want to import your private keys to this wallet from your Apex Liquid bot, you would press right here, Add Wallet. And then you press Import Account right here. This is where you paste the private key that you get from your Apex Liquid bot. Okay, once it's in here, press import, and now you will see your wallet in here. You can see some of the other bot wallets that I have in here. Okay, I always recommend doing this. I also recommend writing down that exact private key on a separate piece of paper and store it offline, just for a backup purposes. In case something happens and you can't access the account, you can always access it if you have the private key. Okay, so make sure you do that. That's very important. That would be for your bot wallet. Now, you're going to create your own wallet here. You press Create Account. That's going to create a brand new wallet that is tied to the private key for your MetaMask. Because the wallet that you're importing from Apex Liquid has a totally different seed phrase and everything. You're not going to be able to see all that. you just get the private key. When you make an account on the MetaMask wallet, you're going to be able to store that from your own seed phrase. So back up your seed phrase, of course. You guys know how to do that. That's pretty much crypto basics there. Okay, but what you're going to want to do, create a separate wallet. Call this, your funding wallet. Okay, this is where you're going to be sending funds to and from your trading bot. Okay, this is where you can send profits back to. This is where you can send funds to. Okay, it's just easier to have a go-between wallet. So this wallet is going to start at 0. You're not going to have anything in here. Okay, first you're going to need some Ethereum because you can't move any type of funds without any Ethereum in your wallet. So there's a few bridges you can use. Okay, I think this will allow you to do Solana. Let me see. So if I type in Solana, okay, so this Alto actually has changed. This used to be the best way to go in between Solana and Arbitrum. But unfortunately, it looks like they have removed USDC altogether as well. So I don't know what's going on with that. So we're going to have to use a different bridge for this. Okay, so we can use this dbridge.finance. It's also dbridge.com. I'll leave the link in the description. The reason why I liked using Alto Finance is because it was cheaper on fees. But this one is still decent on fees. So if you're coming from Solana, first you're going to need to send a little bit of Ethereum. So you choose Solana right here, Solana Sol. Then you're going to pick Ethereum, and you're going to pick Arbitrum. Okay, Arbitrum ETH. Okay, so first send just a little bit for gas, like 0.02 or, just put $10, $5, whatever. Gas transactions are super cheap on Arbitrum, so you don't really have to worry about that too much. But just do like 0.05, just so you have some gas in there. Okay, so it does take a little bit of the fees, as you can see, but it's not too bad. So then you're going to put your MetaMask wallet here. You have to be logged into both wallets. Okay, be logged into your Phantom wallet and be logged into your MetaMask wallet. So then you're going to put your receive address in here, okay, because that's where it's going to send the ETH. And then you need to, like I said, connect both wallets, your Phantom. If you're coming from Solana, okay, connect them here. Make sure everything's correct. Make sure it's the right address, and then send the transaction. It will go through fairly quickly. Okay, this is all decentralized on chain. Once you have some Ethereum in your MetaMask, then you're gonna swap again from Solana to USDC, because this is what they use to trade on Hyperliquid. It's USDC only. Okay, so now you can come from Solana. So if you want to do like 0.5, whatever you want to do, 1 Solana. Okay, however much you want to add to your trading bot. So again, you're going to send it to your same address. We're not sending it to the bot yet. You're sending it to your own wallet. So now once you have the USDC on your own wallet with some little bit of Ethereum for gas, now you're ready to fund your wallet. So then all you would do is you would come over here and you would send the amount of USDC that you want to send to your bot. You would see it right here, USDC. Okay, even if you didn't see it, you could come over here, press send, and then it's going to ask you, what network. Make sure you select Arbitrum right there. Okay, USDC will be right here. You click on it. So then you're going to send it to your Hyperliquid bot. Now, it says right here, you can send $100. I found it works $10 or more can work. Okay, they send $100 minimum, but I have deposited, less than $100. Okay, so $10 I believe is the minimum. So this is your bot wallet for your Apex Liquid bot. Okay, so then you're going to send the funds that you have in your own funding wallet to your bot wallet right here. Okay, it may take a couple minutes to process, and when it does, you will see a notification in your bot that you actually received the funds. So once it shows you that you received the funds, now you are ready to trade. Now when you're ready to withdraw the funds, you go to wallet and then withdraw funds, and it's going to ask you which wallet that you want to withdraw the funds to. You would put your same funding wallet that you funded this bot wallet with, and there you go. Super easy. You can also initiate this withdrawal directly from Hyperliquid if you would like, but you don't really need to because you can just go right through the bot. But you can because it's technically just an account on Hyperliquid. Okay, and then this is where you would export your keys right here. Export keys. It's not the Solana wallet, it's going to be this wallet. And keep in mind, if you do create a new wallet for this Hyperliquid bot, you need to save your old private key because you're not allowed to have multiple wallets here with the bot. If you can create a new wallet, But once you create a new wallet, your old wallet is then gone. So it won't be able to get back your private key. So make sure if you do create a new wallet, you already have the old wallet saved. Okay, so once that's out of the way and your account is funded, now you can start trading. Okay, there's a few ways you can trade. You can trade manually yourself. If you want to just trade the market, you can. You can do copy trading with this bot. This is the great powerful thing with this bot. Okay, it lets you do copy trading. And not only that, but they have a whole website where they store these wallets, these top traders that you can filter through and try to find good wallets to copy trade. Or if you know a wallet to copy trade, you can put it in there. I actually allow people to copy trade my wallet if they use my referral link for this bot. And all you have to do is use my referral link and then direct message me on Telegram, and I'll get you into the private group where I share my trades and my wallet where you can copy it instantly. Okay, that's an option for you as well. Or you can copy other traders. First, click on this, Discover Smart Money. Open this up. Okay, now we are in the meat and potatoes here of the Apex Liquid bot. This is the secret sauce behind this bot. So first off, you might want to log into your Telegram here. This will allow you to save these wallets here for your watch list. You notice that I have some saved. Okay, wallets that I'm looking into potentially copy trade and ones that I want to test out. Now I did have to create a second account because you can only have one wallet active per time here with the Apex Liquid bot. And this main wallet here that I have with this bot, I'm using for manual trading, and people are actually copying my wallet. So I don't use that to, do copy trading. I set up a second wallet on a second Telegram account that is going to just do copy trading. Okay, I've been testing it out, and sometimes, the traders don't always trade. So it is something that, you have to just find the good wallets that are more active. Now these wallets are pretty active, okay, but these haven't traded lately. So let's go back over here to the hot section. Now the great thing with this, what you're going to want to utilize, is this filter tab. This is really great from the Hyperliquid team that they made all this, because this is hard to find this stuff, guys. If you want to just go on the blockchain yourself and try to find this, very difficult to find. So they make it super easy here. And the way you can filter this right here, click on filter. What I like to do is I like to find traders, number one, that have a high win rate. So minimum, let's just say minimum 80% win rate, okay? Because with this perps, you can blow an account pretty easily, okay? So I want traders that are very good at trading, okay? That can get in and out of positions and that have a high win rate and that are making profits. So now what we want to do is their last trade, okay? So let's do minimum 1 day and maximum, within the last, 5 days, okay? So these are traders that are actively trading, because this will filter by all these wallets, and you'll see traders that haven't traded in, months in here. We can also filter, by max drawdown. If you want to look at, their actual ROI, their minimum ROI percentage. It's really great, okay? If you want to sort by, their minimum perps balance. But just for the basic filters we're going to do here, just based on, active traders. I just want to see active traders that have a high win rate. And then I can look at the rest here and then press apply. Now this is going to filter this here. And it's really great. You see the P&L chart. You can see what traders are just constantly winning, constantly making profits. But you can just see, look at this, P&L. It's just constantly going up. That's what you want to see. Max drawdown is on their losing trades. How much are they in the negative? Okay, because sometimes you get in a trade, doesn't go your way. How far are they letting that get into the negative before they potentially hit a stop loss? If you see some in the 99%, 90%, that means they've been liquidated before. Sometimes they just let that position get liquidated. So if you want a trader that is kind of better with risk management, you want this max drawdown to be low percentage. Okay, so you want to look for low percentage. You want to look for high win rate. And then you want to look over here at, how much they're actually making. This is 1 day ROI. This is in 7 days, 30 days, and all. So let's just click on this one for an example. And what you can do is you can go in here and just click on some for favorites. You can see I have a couple of these already starred. Okay, so when we click on one, it brings it up in a new tab, which is great because then it won't affect our sorting here. We can analyze this wallet and then go back and look at the other wallets. Okay, so this one, we can get more detailed information. A lot of great stuff here. They also have the ability to do a back test. If you were to copy trade this wallet with a certain amount of funds, how much would you have made? So let's say if we had $100, copy trading this wallet for the last 30 days, click enter, we would have made $8 only, okay? Because I guess it just depends, you know, lately they haven't made that many trades, okay? But you can see their average hold time, max drawdown, the direction bias. You want to get traders that are kind of more 50%, you know. 80% is not bad because they are still going short at times, but you want to avoid traders that are only one direction, okay? Like if this says 100% long or 100% short, you want to avoid those traders because those could just be farming, you know, because they had farming for airdrops and stuff, and people can have two different wallets, you know, one that always goes short and one that always goes long, and they enter the same trade. So then they're just, you know, it's just kind of a way to get volume without actually making money. So one of the sides is going to win and one of the sides is going to lose. So you want traders that are more, you know, around 50% of this direction bias, okay? Because you want to be careful because with leverage trading, there is risk involved and you can get liquidated and lose everything. So you want to make sure you know what you're doing. Even with copy trading, you can, okay? So you want to be, you know, really research this first. But this wallet on the surface looks good. Even if it only made about 8% profit the last 30 days on this back testing, that's not too bad. Okay, 8% a month, that's pretty good. So look at here, the last trade was 4 days ago. So they haven't traded recently. And we can scroll down here, look at more detailed information. This is their P&L. Also, you might want to look at their balance. This doesn't give you full aspect because they could withdraw. Like here, they probably withdrew their funds, then they added more funds in, and they withdrew. So P&L is really the way to go because this basically started with 1,500, and you can just see how it's just grown. I mean, they've grown this up to, you know, 100,000 basically from 1,500. Pretty damn good, all right? Their all-time ROI is 300%. So now we can look down here. They have no active positions open. This would be their active positions. We can go to historical positions. We can see, you know, how they've made money trading before, what coin they were trading. Okay, they were trading a lot of hype here. They basically trade hype. They trade ETH a little bit. You can see they've done long and short positions. Their P&L here, the entry price and exit price of the trade, and the time here. So everything you need here is with Apex Liquid Bot, guys. They give you all the information. This is really, really useful. This is really great to find because you do need all these metrics to find the best traders. You're going to want to be able to analyze all this stuff. Okay, go to activity. This is where you can see their latest trades. Now, they haven't made any trades since 11/6. So that's right on cue with this. Basically 4 days ago, they traded. Now, they do have balance still in this account, so they probably do still use this, and they've been trading for over 10 months with this account. Okay, so this isn't some brand new wallet. This is something that this person definitely still uses. Okay, so this is their recent trades. They had a long on hype that they closed, made about 40 bucks there. Okay, and you can just look at the other trades. So they basically are trading a lot of the Hyperliquid coin. This is the hype coin, which is fine. Okay, so that's pretty good. And then what I like to do is to find how consistent a trader is, because you can look at, you know, profit factor, and you can look at the Sharpe ratio. This stuff is good too. This stuff is really good as well. This profit factor is basically a ratio of total realized gains to total realized losses across closed trades. A value above 1 indicates profitability. 1 is break even, below 1 signals unprofitability. So they do have a profit factor of 19, which is very, very good. Sharpe ratio. Sharpe ratio is a key metric, okay, as it measures, you know, earned per unit risk. Basically, it's telling you how they calculate it. They first compute the average daily return using historical daily return data. Next, they calculate the volatility, and it basically gets you the Sharpe ratio. A higher Sharpe ratio indicates more favorable risk-adjusted returns. So basically, the higher the Sharpe ratio, the better risk management potentially that a trader has. Okay, so that's all good. I also like to do my own type of metric where I want to see, you know, their historical positions. Here, go back to historical positions, and we're going to look at their best trade. Okay, so this is their worst trade. This is their best trade. Their best trade they made right here, they made $2,000 on one trade. Okay, so take $2,000, and we're going to divide that by their total P&L. The reason for this is this shows how consistent a trader is, because, you know, they could have a 75,000 P&L, but if that's all with a couple trades, they're not really that consistent. Okay, so they have 2,000 is their best trade, and then you divide that by their total P&L, which is 75,000. Okay, so already right off the bat, this is very good because that gets a 2% basically profit ratio right there. So basically, they're a very consistent trader because if this amount, let's just say, their best trade was 50,000. Okay, they made 50,000 on one trade, and their total profit is 75,000. Okay, that's not the best ratio. That's about 66%. So you want this number to be under 50%. That shows you more consistent traders. They're not just getting lucky on a few trades. Okay, they're consistently making profits. That's what you want to see. Notice they're just making consistent little profits over time. This is what you want to look for. Okay, now notice the different dates. These are all different trades. They're not just adding to the same position every time. They're making profits on each trade, which is good. This is a good wallet to copy because sometimes these traders will get into a position and then it starts going the wrong way, and then they add more and they add more and they add more and they add more, and then eventually they get a small little profit. Okay, but this trader is good because they are doing their own positions on different days. Okay, notice this is back in March, and this is the best. This is sorted by the best P&Ls, so this is good. So basically they are holding these positions for basically a day. I don't see any of these positions held longer than a day, which is good because the longer you hold a leverage position, it's more risky. It is a risk and reward there because if it goes in your direction, I've held trades for, weeks or more that made me some big profits. That can do that, but that's more high risk, high reward. If you want to just start copy trading these guys, you want traders that are basically just day trading and, they're in and out in a day. And this is perfect. These metrics are very good for this wallet. So this would be one that I would consider copy trading. Okay, I would test it out, of course, and set this up. Now they haven't traded in the last 4 days, but I do think that they will keep trading here. You can see the last 7 days. Okay, they are still making profits. So sometimes, people take breaks on trading and stuff. It does happen. So now if you want to copy trade this, this is their wallet right here. You would copy this wallet. Okay, you can actually just click on copy trade here, and it should take you to the bot as well. So now we are in the Apex Liquid bot. We're going to click on copy trade. So now you're in the copy trade settings. So you're going to click add right here. Okay, so there's a lot of various settings for this, which is good because it gives you a lot of control over this account. Okay, so put target wallet. We'll put that wallet in here as the target wallet, paste that in there. Okay, so now that wallet's in here. So now it's not as complicated as it looks here. There's a lot of different settings, guys. I went over this in my other video, but they have added some settings here, which is really great. First off, copy ratio. If you want to just copy the same ratio as this wallet, which can work, even if you have a lower amount. So even if I'm copy trading this guy with $100 in my bot and they have $100,000, it'll copy the same ratio. Now, of course, you're not going to make as much because let's say they take $1,000 position, that's 1% of their funds, which is still a lot, but for us, it's only $1. So if they were to open up a position for, $1,000 position, we would only open up $1 position. So we might not really make much because of fees and stuff. So depending on, your balance, you may not want to just use the copy ratio, which is okay. So we come down here, we can set it up to buy a minimum amount. Let's just go over some of this. So some of these other settings, reverse copy, if you want to reverse copy them, if you find a trader that's really, really bad, you can reverse copy them and maybe make some profits. Okay, that's the ability there. We'll leave that off because we don't want to reverse copy them. Copy existing positions. This is if they already have open positions. If we clicked this, our bot would automatically buy those positions. Now, I don't recommend this because their existing positions are at a totally different price than the market is today. Okay, so you want to avoid that. Not copy open, no copy increase. This is the same kind of thing as far as, the existing positions go. Leave all that off. If you want to set up your own take profit percentage here, you can do that here. You can set up your own take profit and your own stop loss. Now, I prefer to just let the trader do that because we're analyzing this trader. They have shown they are profitable. They have shown they know how to trade. And if you take time to analyze the wallet, then you shouldn't have to set up your own take profit. You should just let the trader do it yourself. But you can. You have the ability to do that. Okay? If you want to have your own set strategy, where I only want to make this X amount of percent per trade. Well, you can put that in here. You can put in your stop loss, and you can put in your balance. If you don't want, your trades to be in a drawdown more than a certain percentage, put that in there for the stop loss. Okay, so all you would do is, take profit percentage. Let's say we want to do, only make 25%. So when the trade goes up 25%, we make profit. So I put 25% in there. And for stop loss, let's say, we don't want it to go lower than 15%. Okay, I don't recommend these settings. This is just an example, but this is how you would do that. So now we have set it up. You can also do it based on your balance, take profit and stop loss, how low your balance goes or how high your balance goes. That's a cool feature as well. You can also set up here if you want to do a limit buy at a lower price percentage. So you have the ability to copy trade them, but you don't want to copy trade them right when they're getting in the trade. You want to see if the price goes a little bit lower. So if you set up a limit buy at a lower price, that means if they got, let's say they got into a long Solana at, right here at 166, but you want to try to get a little bit lower, you can put this limit buy at a lower price. So we want to wait for it to go just 1% lower, and we want to get in 1% after that. Okay. Again, if you're copying a good trader, you don't need to do this, but you can, because it'll basically allow you to have less risk, because it's only going to copy positions once they go lower. Okay, so if they've already opened a long and it starts dipping and into a drawdown, once it gets that 1%, now it's going to do our buy, which is pretty cool. So basically, the bot just sets up a limit order. Whatever percentage you put here, whatever 1% is lower than whatever the positions they have, which is really cool. So you can also do limit buy, not hit market buy. They also give you a setting here. If the limit buy doesn't get hit, you can just have it do market buy. And that's basically on how long you want this to go. So if you only want to wait, a couple minutes, maybe, 20 to 30 minutes, and if the price hasn't dipped to your level yet, you just want to market buy. Okay. So how long are you willing to wait? Well, let's just do 20 minutes. So you do 20M. Okay. So enter second for limit. Oh, so this is in seconds. So we would have to calculate that per seconds, which is pretty cool. So if we wanted to wait 20 minutes, you do 20 times 60, because there is 60 seconds in a minute. So we would actually put 1200 right here. So 1200, and you're there. Okay, so that did work right here. You can see 1200 seconds. So that's 20 minutes. So basically, it'll give a 20-minute time frame from the time my trader opens a trade. If the price doesn't dip lower than 1%, it's just going to market buy whatever the price is, which is a really cool feature. This is honestly a really cool feature for this bot. This is really next level stuff, guys. And you can do the same thing with selling. You can do a limit sell at a higher price. So if the trader closes their position with, 20% profit, but for you want to get 30% profit, you can set this up. So let's put this at, 30%. Okay. So now we want to have it be 30% higher. So see, at a higher price. So it would actually be a higher price from what they sold. They sold their position at a 30% profit. We want it to be 30% higher. Same thing here. You can set up a time frame. So if this doesn't happen in the next, 20 minutes or an hour, you just put how many seconds here. Really cool stuff by this bot. This is some new features that have been added, okay, which gives you the ability to be more in control of your trading, which is awesome. Because if you want to try to hold out for the higher price than what they sold it at, you can do that, but you also put the restriction on the bot to where if it doesn't hit that price within this time frame, it's just going to sell at the current market price, which is really cool. Okay, really cool stuff. So next here, limit buy, lower open price only. This basically says if you click this setting, it's only going to buy at the lower price. It's going to override these. Okay, it's going to override these settings. So if you want to have the the timed buy or the timed sell, you would leave this off. Okay, but if you only want to use the limit buy at lower prices, you would click that on. So now we're going into the trade sizing, because like I said before, you can do just the copy ratio, but you may want to trade more than what their ratio is depending on their balance. So let's say for us, we only have $100. We want to trade 30% of our bankroll per trade. So we would put our minimum trade size at 30 right here. And then for the maximum trade size, that's the maximum we're willing to put per trade. We'll just do 30. You can have these amounts different if you're willing to trade lower. So let's say we would be okay trading, a $10 position. Okay, then we would put that in here, and our max would be 30. Again, that's going to be based on the ratio of their balance. So if this trader traded half of their balance in one trade, 50%, for us, that would be $50. But let's say we don't want to put half of our bankroll in one trade. Because of our settings here, it's only going to put $30 max. Okay, but if we're okay, doing 10%, then we could set this to $10. Okay, so it's all based on your own preference and your own ratio. Now this here, buy times per token. This is if you only want to buy once per trade. So like I said before, if there's traders that are constantly adding to their position over and over and over, you only want to buy once. So limits the amount of times you can buy for the same position. So set this at 1. So that means it's only going to buy once. Okay. So buy times per token, 1. So they enter into the position once. If they keep adding to the position, it's not going to add to yours. It's only going to buy once. So pretty cool. Your copy size is less than $10. So if, the trader only trades, a $10 position, some like high risk trade, you can put here, you don't want to copy anything lower than a certain amount. So if they only trade, $5, you don't want to copy that. So it says basically once enabled, if the calculated your copy size is still below $10 after waiting 31 seconds, it will buy according to $10 for your set minimum buy. Use this feature with caution. It could make you buy too much and risk liquidation. When disabled, if the calculated your copy size is still below $10 after waiting 1 second, you won't copy this trade. When it's less here, see how this is basically just less or more, and it's the $10 minimum is what they put here. So if we clicked on this again, now it's going to change. So see, now it says your copy size less than $10, don't buy. That's what I recommend leaving on. Okay, but if you don't want that, you would click here and it says buy. If your copy size is less than $10, buy. So we want to leave that off. Copy size is less than $10, don't buy. Okay. Max number of tokens. This is how many different tokens you will allow the copy trader to trade. So if they're trading different, like if they're trading Hype and Solana, Bitcoin, Ethereum, all these other coins, you may only want to trade a couple coins. So we only want them to trade, 3 coins, whatever. We put that in there, and now it's only going to trade 3 coins. So once it hits 3, it caps out. It won't copy anymore. That's why when you're researching wallets, you want to see if they're trading all these different coins. Because if they are, you may want to limit that here. But sometimes you won't even have to worry about that. Okay, so this here, max token size. That's basically, let's see what this is. This is a new feature. Enter the max token size for copying each token. If this size is exceeded, copying will stop until the token's position is reduced or closed. So this basically is just the size of the position, I believe. Okay, so if you want to limit the size of the position, but you can also limit that with this. This is basically if you're just using the ratio setting and you're not setting your max and minimum buys. If you set your max and minimum buys, you don't have to worry about all this stuff. Max token margin, or the max margin allocation for copy trading each token. So this is for each token. So this is where, you don't want to have too much in one position. So let's just say the maximum margin, let's just put 20 right there. So what that's going to do is it's not going to allow me to have more than $20 in each token position. So it's not going to put all of my account into one trade. Again, if you have this set up, you don't really need this as well. Okay. So follow leverage, you can click on that. It will allow you to follow the same leverage. And let's see what that says. So you have max leverage and follow leverage. So basically you'll follow whatever leverage they do. Max leverage, I believe. So this would be, the highest leverage available. Okay, so we're just going to leave that at copy leverage right there. Okay, the rest of this, we want to copy buy. This would be if you only want to copy them a certain direction. Okay, if you only want to copy their shorts, copy longs, only want to copy their buys, copy sells. Okay, so like if you have stopped copying a trader or something and you only want to copy their sell, you can get in here, only copy buy. That's cool as well. Here is a new feature. Trader uses isolated. We want to use cross. So if the trader opens an isolated position, we can still use a cross-leverage position if this is clicked. If this is unclicked, then it's going to basically copy whatever they have. So if they use an isolated position, it'll use that. If they use cross, it will use cross. Okay, and you guys know what cross and isolated is. Talked about that in the beginning of the video. Token blacklist and whitelist. This is where you can actually blacklist or whitelist certain tokens. Now, by default, it's going to let you copy every single token that they trade. But if you go through their trade history and notice that they're not doing well on a certain coin, or you only want to copy a certain one like Bitcoin or Ethereum, you don't want to copy like some meme coins that are on Hyperliquid, or the hype coin, you can blacklist those, okay? And you have to do it for each. So if you don't want to have your wallet trade, let's say you don't want it to trade, Ethereum or something, you would go to long blacklist. So then it brings up this here, and we press add, and you need to enter the token name. So this is where we would put ETH, for example. So we want to blacklist ETH. So now we've added one here. So see ETH. Okay, let's click back. So we have blacklisted ETH for longing. Now we also need to blacklist for short if we want to do that. If you only want to trade certain coins, like if you only want to copy trade Bitcoin trades or Solana or whatever, I recommend just using the whitelist section. This will allow you to only trade that coin. So if you put a coin in here for your whitelist, we can add in, let's just say, we only want to trade Bitcoin copy. We only want to copy trade when they trade Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is less risky. It's, less volatility sometimes. So now it's in here. We click back. So now we're only going to trade what's in our whitelist. So if you have a whitelist setting, be careful, because it's only going to be able to trade those coins. It won't even worry about your blacklist. It's only going to worry what's in your whitelist. And this will then allow you to buy isolated margin tokens. If you don't want to buy isolated margin, you would just click that off. Okay, so pretty cool stuff here. All the different settings you could ever want. Okay, notification settings. You can set this up to notify you on anything that the wallet does. Okay, it gives you a whole list of what you want to actually have. You can see all the different notifications. Maybe you don't want to have all these notifications, but you can. Okay, it's really cool stuff there. And the last thing, minimum balance of the target wallet. This is where if the balance goes below a certain amount, you can cut it off to stop copying. I don't really worry about this too much because I'm not going to be trading with a huge balance like they are. But let's just say, for example, let's just say this wallet got to, $100 or something, and they just keep losing and losing and losing. You can set this up to where, okay, now they've lost, 50% of their bankroll. We want to stop copying them. So for this wallet, we could put, if it goes below 75,000, we don't want to copy this anymore because they are obviously losing a bunch of trades. So if it hits below 75, we're done because they've lost too much. And then this sub-wallet copy, this allows you to set up a sub-wallet where you can just specify how much funds you want to allocate for this wallet to copy only. So this would be more in the main settings, okay, because now it's basically going to use a sub-wallet. Okay, so I'll go into that in a second, but let's just say we can isolate a certain amount of funds to only this wallet. So let's say we have $100 in our bot. We only want $50 being used for this wallet because we're going to copy trade another wallet, and we don't want to mix the funds. We only want the funds, using $50 for this wallet and then $50 for another wallet. This would be used from the sub wallets. Okay, so now that it says use sub wallet, you need to click on that if you want to use a sub wallet. If you want to just use your main wallet, you would click right here, use main wallet. Okay, so whatever this is showing is what it's going to be. Okay, now if you're all ready to go, you would click create copy trade right there. Okay, so then this will be all set up, and you can see it's active. It's got the green check mark. There's the wallet here. If you want to edit any of those settings, just click right here. Then you can see, everything here. You can see their balance here. You can look at your copy record. How have you done copying this wallet? Really cool stuff. All the metrics you would really need here. You can edit all this stuff here. And if you want to delete it, you would just click delete right there. Okay. So pretty cool, guys, with this options. Okay, so now let me get into the sub wallet real quick. So set up sub wallet positions, click right here. Okay, now to get into the sub wallets right here, we do, let's see, manage sub wallet. Let's see. You have no sub wallet. Okay, so generate a sub wallet right here. So now it's basically a totally different wallet. Okay, so with this is pretty cool because now you need to actually fund this wallet. So you would need to then send some funds to this wallet here. And now that it has a balance, you would then select it. You can export the private key for this wallet as well. Now that we have a sub wallet, we would go back here and we clicked on this settings. So I guess you can't set up a sub wallet after you've already set up the settings, it looks like, because now that sub wallet section is gone. So keep that in mind. If you do want to set up a sub wallet, make sure your sub wallet is set up first, because if it's not set up first, you won't be able to add it on later. Okay, so that's why when you come back here, you'll notice when you are setting up a copy trade, you can basically here or use a sub wallet copy. Let's see here. So we'll do here, let's see. And it says, so yeah, this would be, we would basically have to do all these settings and then it would set it up for the sub wallet. So pretty cool stuff, guys. If you want to set that up and use a sub wallet, that'll basically allow you to not use all your funds on your main wallet. If you want to specify, only this amount for this wallet, this amount for this wallet. But keep in mind, you do have to actually fund those wallets. It's not going to be able to get the funds until you send it to them. So figure out how you want to do it first. I just do it all from my main wallet because I'm only really copy trading 1 to 2 traders at most at one time, because you don't want to copy too many guys at one time. If you are going to be copying multiple wallets, that's where the sub wallet comes into play. But if you're only copying, 1 or 2 wallets, you're okay just doing it from your main balance. But again, it gives you that full control if you only want to copy a certain amount of funds with that wallet. It gives you the ability to do that. Just keep in mind that when you do set up a sub wallet, you need to back up those private keys as well because it's a whole different wallet. So keep that in mind there. And yeah, guys, that's basically how you would set it up to copy trade. Okay. So then if you want to delete it, you would click here, click on the wallet, come down here, click delete. Or you can set it inactive here as well. That's another way to do it. Okay. So now you can now it's paused and you can wait and either delete it or just pause it for that time being. So guys, that's how you set up a wallet to copy trade. That's what I look for in finding these wallets. Okay. Pretty cool stuff. This has a lot of potential to make some great profits. If you can find a wallet that is trading, that, is a great trader and is printing money. I mean, just look at these P&Ls. I mean, some of these, yeah, there is going to be some peaks and valleys. You want to kind of avoid, traders like this. I mean, huge run up and then they lost it all. Like these are kind of a lot of peaks and valleys. You want to look for like this. This is just straight up, just bam, this is what you want to look for. Just up and to the right, up and to the right. That's what you want to look for. And real quick before I end the video, I want to show you just the power of compounding with these leverage trades, because compounding can really come into play with leverage trading, and it can really be a great way to grow your bankroll fast. Okay, so this is a compounding calculator that I made. I showed you guys how to make a similar one in a previous video. If you want to dive into this is a more in-depth one here, because basically you have your investment here. How much daily percentage can you make? Okay, your earnings, reinvesting, your fees, and then if you want to just take out some profits. So for this example, I have a $100 investment, and this is if you make 25% a trade. So if you make 25% a trade, reinvest rate 100% for the first trade, and then every trade after that, we're only reinvesting 90%. Okay, so we're actually taking some profit on each trade to build up, because this is a more, lower risk than just compounding 100%, because if something were to go wrong, at least we still have some profits built up. Okay, you can set the fees here. It's about 10%, give or take, coming in and coming out of a trade. So it's about 5%, I believe, around there with the fees, just depending on the fees, I believe. Now, I could be wrong on that. I haven't looked specifically into Hyperliquid. This was based on Jupiter's fee rate, it's about at that amount. Okay, so keep that in mind, because if you're only trying to make 10%, you're really not going to make anything. You need to make more than 10% to make money with leverage trading. So for this example, if we started with $100, now this is by days, but this could also be by trades. Okay, so one trade we make here, we make 25%, reinvest 100%. Okay, after fees, now we have $122. Okay, so if you did this for 30 trades, okay, let's just do it for 30 trades. Look at how fast you can grow this, guys. So if you compounded 90% in 30 trades, making 25% each time, even with the 10% fee rate, okay, your balance will then have grown to $21,000 in your balance. Because you're only compounding 90%, you will then have withdrawn $480. So you basically 4x'd your initial investment and you have a 21,000 balance. Keep in mind, this isn't accounting for losses. This is basically if you were able to make 30 trades in a row of not losing, made 25% each trade, compounded 90%, even with fees and everything, you would have a $21,000 account balance. But yeah, 30 trades in a row is pretty tough. Let's just see, here. So for example, 22 trades. So after 22 trades, your account balance would be $4,800. You would have taken out $100. So now you've broken even on your initial investment. So this is all house money here. So now you can decide what you want to do at that point. You can keep trading, but this just shows you the power of compound interest. And with leverage trading, this is where you can actually implement these compounding strategies, because we're trading on these higher market cap coins. These aren't meme coins. These aren't meme coins that can just rug in the middle of the night. These are established cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana. You can leverage trade those, and yes, they can dump pretty quick. They can pump pretty quick as well. This isn't like trading meme coins where you have to worry about, if your copy trader is farming you and starts buying these low cap coins and quickly buys and sells. That doesn't fly here with leverage trading. They're not going to be able to make that kind of profit because they can't move the price with just their one trade. And it's a little bit better here because I still trade meme coins myself, but this gives me another way to trade to potentially make some great profits, whether it's just copy trading or doing it on my own, okay? And compounding is how you're going to make the big bucks, guys, because if you're able to have, 20 consecutive trades in a row, look how fast your account balance is going to grow. That's a 48x. You just 48x'd your initial $100 and you already pulled out $100 on the side. Now you can pull out, $1,000 from this, whatever, but this is how you can do that. And, I recommend trying to make one of these for yourself. And it's pretty simple to make. I've went over in a previous video how to make this. And if you really can't make it, you can go into ChatGPT. It can make it for you. You can get this thing made, guys. It's not that difficult. Okay, it just takes a little bit of math and thought behind it. But basically, this is how you would do it. You can keep track of your earnings and set some goals for yourself. Set some compounding goals where, yeah, I want to start with $100. I'm okay if I lose that entire amount. I just want to start, making some compounding trades. But let's just, for an example, let's say if we set this to 50%, if we made 50% a trade, look how fast that can grow. You can get to $1 million in 28 trades. Pretty insane, guys. Look how fast that can grow. Okay, so just by doubling your percentage, 50% a trade. Can you make 50% every single trade? It's pretty tough. But you can if you hit the right entry with the right leverage at the right time. Yes, you can. But there is going to be trades where you lose. And, set up your stop losses accordingly, of course, because you don't want to have your entire, funds get wiped out in one trade. You do want to set up so like if you're going for 50% profit, maybe set your stop loss at 25%. So if you do hit a stop loss on a trade, you only lose 25%, and it just takes one more good trade to then make that back up, and now you're back in profit. But just see how fast this can grow. 8 trades in a row. Can you make 8 trades in a row making 50% a trade? It's possible. And look, you will already have pulled out $50. you will have compounded 90%, and now you're at $1,000. Okay. You do that 10 more times. Now you're at 33,000 in the account. You've pulled out 1,500. Do that for 28 times in a row. Now you're at $1 million in your account, guys. You've pulled out $45,000. Okay. Just some crazy stuff, but this is how these traders, like the one I just showed you, this is how they're scaling their accounts up. It's by compounding interest. Compounding interest is the seventh wonder of the world, guys, and this is how you're going to grow your account. This is how the pros are growing their accounts huge, okay? So this is just something to keep in mind, and this is something you can do utilizing the Apex Liquid bot and trading. So guys, real quick, before I end the video, I totally forgot to check out their mini app. So you would click right here, open mini app, and it's going to basically open up a little web page that is basically like Hyperliquid, okay? You can then use this to trade manually a lot easier. It's basically like having access to, the Hyperliquid front end, okay? So we're looking at Zcash. Wow, Zcash had a nice little dip here. But basically, if you want to trade, you click right here, and you'd have to scroll down. Now, there is a way to make this full screen. I don't know why it's not going full screen. I'm trying to make this thing full screen. I don't know. It was going full screen before. I don't know if I have to right click. No. Okay, but you can drag it, I believe. Let's see. No. So I guess this is as big as you can make it. Maybe because I have my bot screen small, that's why this is small. You would just scroll down here, and you can see, just like on Hyperliquid, and you can basically have a front end to utilize these trades. You can choose your different leverage here, cross or isolated. You can go up to 10x for Zcash. Different pairs allow you to trade different leverage, and then you can open up your position. You would place your order here. So if we wanted to do, $20 position at a 10x long, it shows required margin is $2 because it's already calculating the leverage. So if we actually only want to use, we would do 200. Then that's going to give us $20 used, okay? And then you would press place order. And this is, I believe, a market order. Yeah, market order. You can switch to limit order, and if you want to set up at a certain price. You can do this all through the bot as well. This just gives you another way to see that, and it's a lot easier to trade using a front end like this, basically like using Hyperliquid itself. But yeah, cool stuff, guys. They are constantly adding to this and making it easier to use the bot. So I'm very impressed with the Hyperliquid bot, the Hyperliquid team. Very top-notch people here in the space. They think of all the different settings and things to help make you a profitable trader and have full control over your copy trading and everything that goes into trading on Hyperliquid. Not only that, but it also allows you to be eligible for future airdrops for Hyperliquid because you're technically trading straight on Hyperliquid. You're getting volume on Hyperliquid, and it's going to allow you to be eligible for future airdrops if they do have one for Hyperliquid, because the first airdrop was massive for people that actually got into trading on Hyperliquid. So cool stuff, guys, all the way around. They provide all the tools and necessary settings that you need to be a profitable leverage trader and to copy trade these wallets successfully. Not only that, but be able to find the wallets. And like I said, log in here. You can click on wallets. If you want to star them, then you can check them out later. Check them out in your watch list. They've really thought of everything with this bot, and really impressive what we have. And I think this is going to grow into a very popular thing that people can do to kind of diversify your trading from just trading meme coins to now you can trade the big cryptos and still make crazy returns, as you have seen with the compounding. You can compound very, very easily with leverage trading. Of course, there is risk with leverage trading. You can lose everything. You can get liquidated if you make the wrong trade. There can be times where you set a stop loss and the price will wick right to your stop loss and then it'll pump. There's a lot of manipulation still in crypto. It is the wild, wild west, but there is money to be made. That's why, you can avoid all that by just copying successful traders that have proven it. And if you really dive in and research the wallets, you can find really great traders to trade, guys. So overall, I'm just very impressed with this bot. And I totally forgot to say something before we end the video. If you've watched this long, I am doing a giveaway So shout out to the Apex Liquid team. They have given me $100 to give away to somebody that watches this video. I'm going to create a Google form for this just so the comments, people can't, look at your telegrams and stuff. I don't want, people finding your telegram usernames and stuff like that. So I'm going to set up a Google form where you can basically input your name to be eligible for this $100 giveaway on the Apex bot, where you can use it to trade, or you can just withdraw it and have it for yourself, whatever you want to do. But for the stipulations for this is you must sign up with my referral link. I will be able to verify that based on your Telegram username. You have to be subscribed to this YouTube channel. You have to thumbs up on the video, and you have to leave a comment in the comment section. Okay, I will put all these rules in the Google form as well. Okay, but this is what you can do and be eligible for the next video I make on this Apex Liquid bot, where I will be randomly selecting the winner of the giveaway, and you will be sent $100 in USDC to your wallet. So make sure the wallet that you give is on Arbitrum and you have some Ethereum in it already, because that's how you're going to get the funds. Okay, you can just basically put your bot wallet. That's what I would recommend, is put your bot wallet from your Apex Liquid bot into your wallet for the giveaway. So I can just send it straight to that wallet. You can have it to trade, and you can withdraw it if you would like. But I really hope you use it to trade, because using free funds to trade is the best, because it's really no risk for you. And you could compound that to some really insane profits. You can copy trade traders and just try it out, guys. So I recommend using the funds to trade, but of course, this is crypto. You're free to do whatever you want with the funds. And I hope you guys really enjoyed this detailed tutorial video. I went really in depth into this Apex Liquid bot and even just leverage trading as well. So I hope this can be a great money earner for us as we close out 2025 and head into 2026. I think a lot of funds are going to be going into, leverage trading and stuff like that. So I think this is going to be big in the future, and it's already pretty big, but this is going to be really big, this bot. So get in now, and you guys can start making some profits. So if you guys like that, please hit a thumbs up, subscribe for more. Let me know in the comments what you think about this. Are you using the Apex Liquid bot currently? Have you been having success copy trading? Let me know in the comments. Make sure you join into the giveaway, follow all the rules, and look out for the next video when I randomly pick the giveaway winner. So thanks again, everybody. I really do appreciate all the support. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. And until the next time we will talk again, take care and take charge. Creative Crypto out.